Exactly 4 years into his presidency, Moi was overthrown in a military coup for 3 hours on the 1st of August 1982. The coup was staged by junior Air Force officers of the Luo community. Raila Odinga was to admit 30 years later that he was behind the coup. Somali commanders loyal to Moi reversed the coup in 3 hours, and the coup leaders, led by Senior Private Hezekiah Ochuka, fled to Tanzania. After being restored to power, Moi removed the gloves and started crushing the opposition ruthlessly. He turned the de facto one-party state under KANU to a de jure one-party state by law. He blatantly renamed the Kenya Air Force Moi 82 Air Force. Although the Kenya-Tanzania border was closed and there were no diplomatic relations, Moi negotiated with Nyerere, and the coup plotters who had fled to Tanzania were extradited, tried and executed. After crushing his military threats, Moi turned on to the men who had made him, starting with Attorney General Charles Njonjo. He orchestrated a year-long commission of inquiry into Njonjo's conduct, at the end of which the Attorney General was politically ruined. He then turned on Mwai Kibaki, who he had made his vice president on assuming power, and demoted him to an ordinary minister. He appointed another Kikuyu academic called Josephat Karanja as vice president, but also messed him up before he could become entrenched. Moi then appointed a mathematics professor, George Saitoti, a data Maasai who had been born Kikuyu, to replace Karanja. Meanwhile, as the Bush Civil War raged in Uganda, General Tito Okello overthrew President Milton Obote in 1985. For 5 months, Moi chaired the Uganda peace talks between Okello's junta and Yoweri Museveni's National Resistance Army on a full-time basis. The Uganda Peace Agreement of December 1985 collapsed and the NRA captured power. Museveni's determination to rebuild Uganda's industrial capacity became a threat to Kenya's business community, and Moi almost led Kenya to war with Uganda until a one-on-one meeting he had with Museveni at Malaba in the December of 1987 restored peace. By the close of the 1980s, Moi had crushed all dissent within KANU. He then turned on perceived opponents, and the highly respected foreign minister Robert Oko was killed in a gruesome murder. Civil society critics were hunted down, and the Anglican Bishop of Eldoret, Bishop Alexander Muge, was assassinated in a road crash. Many critics were arrested and incarcerated in jail. Former minister and extremely wealthy hotelier Kenneth Matiba was arrested and tortured into a vegetable. By the early 1990s, agitation by the civil society, who included environmentalist Nobel Peace Prize laureate Wangari Maathai and lawyer Paul Moite, caused donors to pull back on funds and aid. This, coupled with corruption, led to a downturn in the economy. The massive social infrastructure growth Moi had initiated earlier, especially in education and health, started falling apart. The Kenya shilling lost value rapidly. In 1992, Moi succumbed to donor pressure and opened up to multi-partyism. The biggest rival to his ruling KANU party was Forum for Restoration of Democracy, FORD, led by Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Luckily for Moi, the massive Ford split along ethnic lines between Ford Kenya for Luos, led by Odinga, and Ford Asili for Kikuyus, led by Furail Kenneth Matiba. Another Kikuyu faction, led by Mwai Kibaki, formed the Democratic Party of Kenya, and Moi defeated them in the ensuing multi-party elections. Moi kept defeating the divided opposition in general elections until he was no longer eligible for elections in 2002. He propped up his mentor's son, Uhuru Kenyatta, to stand for president. Uhuru was divided by a united opposition led by Kibaki. Moi then slid quietly into retirement. He died in February 2020, aged 95. His death was formally announced by his protege, who eventually became President Uhuru Kenyatta.